Welcome to video 2 of section 6, TensorFlow, Google's machine learning library. In the previous video, we challenged you to develop your own automatic image caption system. In this video, we are going to talk about an alternative machine learning library to Theano that also plays seamlessly with Keras. Here, we will just have a little overview on TensorFlow. And our topics will be: what is TensorFlow? Where can we find online tutorials? And how to use TensorFlow with Keras. Let's start with what is TensorFlow, and the best way to do that is going to their website. By the time we started recording this video, TensorFlow was still in its first version, and its performance was not quite impressive. But since it is developed by Google, a lot of people have hoped that it may be even faster than Theano one day, and maybe even one of the best machine learning libraries. As we can read here, TensorFlow is an open source library for machine intelligence, also known as machine learning. TensorFlow was inspired by Theano in several points, such as the Python API, automatic differentiation, symbolic computation, and etc. But it also has some interesting original properties, such as TensorBoard for graph visualization, and TensorFlow is promising to be really portable, working seamlessly in GPUs, CPUs, clusters of CPUs, and even Android phones. Give their website a rating and watch their landing video. TensorFlow looks really promising. To install TensorFlow, we go to Get Started. The pip installation was the one that worked for me. And depending on your system, you just pip install the will that they provide. If you are using an Anaconda environment, just like we instructed in the beginning of this course, follow the instructions for the virtual env installation. In other words, you just pip install without super user permissions. After installing TensorFlow, I asked myself, how can I learn how to use it though? And this is what we are going to answer next. TensorFlow.org itself got some introductory tutorials. That was the first thing that I did. I read through them. But later, I heard about this TensorFlow tutorials repo on GitHub. It got examples starting from simple linear regression up to deep convolutional neural networks. Here on pull requests, 6_LSTM is a pull request that I submitted with a recurrent neural network example. You can check it out if you want to see a way of using LSTMs with TensorFlow. Back to the root of the repo, let us check how TensorFlow looks like, clicking on this first example. And actually, TensorFlow looks a lot like Theano. I believe it will be easy for you to transfer the knowledge from what we studied about Theano to TensorFlow, in case you get interested in it. See these two lines, for instance. We start a computation graph defining symbolic variables. Afterwards, we compute the desired operations. In this case, there is just a linear projection, and the cost function is just the mean squared error. An advantage of TensorFlow over Theano is that it doesn't take as long to compile the symbolic graph. We just initialize a session and call the compiled function using session.run, and we feed a dictionary with actual values for the symbolic placeholders. Just like Theano, Keras can also use TensorFlow as backend. The front end, the way we design our models and train them, is kept unchanged. Keras uses Theano as backend by default. Its docs explains how to change it to TensorFlow. Here on keras.io, we click Backends and follow the instructions in this page. But I'll show you here on my command line. We start by opening keras.json, which is in our home directory inside .keras. You can obviously use the best text editor to do that. Here in keras.json, we just change here where it says Theano to TensorFlow. We save this file and all our Keras models will run using TensorFlow. By the time I was recording this video, TensorFlow wasn't faster than Theano. But if one day TensorFlow becomes faster and better, making the change is just that simple. In this video, we learned a little bit about TensorFlow. And this ends our course. And here, we started deep learning with Python. We investigated several models and implementations using Theano and Keras to take care of the boilerplate for us. We concluded the course with a final challenge based off automatic image captioning. To solve this challenge, we should use all the techniques that we learned in this course. especially convolutional and recurrent neural networks. We also did a quick overview about TensorFlow, and we saw how to use it as a Keras backend alternative to Theano.